What happens when minor disagreement at work spirals into full-blown conflict?
Stop humming that song!
I can hum if I want to.
You've probably tried mediating or setting stricter rules to fix things, but nothing seemed to work.
It's a bad time, Bob.
All right. Could it be that you're addressing the problem the wrong way around? Studies have shown that unresolved workplace conflict costs businesses billions annually. On top of that, 86% of employees believe communication gaps are the main cause of tension in their company. I work with leaders and managers across various industries who struggle to resolve disputes until they really understand one simple truth. Not all conflict are created equal. For instance, while a dominating personality might push for immediate resolution, a steady personality could shy away from any confrontation at all. Misinterpreting these personality-driven responses can lead to a toxic work environment that could highly result in costly turnover and poor results. But it doesn't have to be that way. In this video, I will break down the 4 DISC conflict patterns and show you how to adapt your strategies and your communication to finally resolve employee conflict. Let's get started. Conflict type number 1. How do you handle someone who won't back down? Have you ever been in a meeting and someone on your team insists that their approach is the best? Mind you, they're not just confident, and they're really pushing other people out of the way to ensure their solution is the one. With this, they're shutting down other people's ideas without hesitation. It feels like they're bulldozing the conversation, and you're left wondering how to steer things back on track without clashing. Does this sound familiar? Well, here's the thing. Directness can be a double-edged sword. Sure, it drives action and gets results. But when it comes to conflict, it can escalate things really fast. I've seen this played out firsthand. Team members with strong personalities clashing because neither wants to back down.
What is going on? What are you doing?
I realized there's a better way to handle conflict like that. So how do you address this type of situation effectively without adding more fuel on the fire? You see, dealing with people who are assertive is a lot like steering a powerful car. Yes, you have to respect the horsepower, but you need to control it to avoid a crash. And in the DISC model, these are the D types, the dominant types. They're decisive and often direct and to the point. Dr. William Marston, that created the DISC framework, emphasizes how these individuals value results above everything else. But here's the challenge. When conflict arises, their intensity can feel overwhelming for most of the people. So what's the best way to keep things productive instead of explosive? The answer is relatively simple. Meet them with clarity, not necessarily confrontation. D-types respect strength. You have to be clear, and they respect efficiency. So present your point with confidence and back them up with data and facts. They're looking for a quick resolution, so avoid long debates. Here's the kicker. Acknowledge their drive, but guide the conversation towards collaboration. Show them how working together can achieve their goals faster. Remember, with the dominant types, it's not about shutting them down. It's about showing them that you're just as committed to getting the results as they are. The second conflict types. How do you handle someone who turns everything into a social issue? Have you ever tried to have a serious discussion about a work problem, but the conversation keeps drifting into personal stories, side jokes, or emotional appeals?
Where is my desk?
That is weird.
This is totally unprofessional.
Where was the last place you saw it?
Okay, who moved my desk?
It's like every time you try to stay on track, you're suddenly talking about how the team needs to feel united or how we should celebrate everyone's efforts first.
Mean anything.
That's good to know.
You leave the conversation wondering how can you address the real issue without hurting feelings or derailing the progress. Here's the truth. Some people approach workplace conflict in a way that feels more emotional than logical. They prioritize relationships and connection over directly tackling the issue at hand. I've seen this happen many times, where a manager will try and resolve a scheduling problem, but the team keeps emphasizing how everyone's feeling should be considered first. It taught me something critical about addressing these kind of personalities. So, how do you resolve the conflict without losing their trust? You see, working with people who lead with emotion is like navigating a river. You need to flow with the current, not fight against it. To make progress in the DISC framework, these are your I types, the influential types. They're very influential, they're very expressive, they're very relationship driven. The I types thrive in environments where they feel heard and appreciated.
Oh my God, something's happening.
But here's the tricky part. When conflict arises, their focus on relationships can sometimes overshadow the actual problem. So how do you balance addressing the issue while keeping the relationship intact? The answer is to validate their feelings first, then redirect to the issue. Influential people need to know their emotions and connections are valued.
Emotional damage.
So start by acknowledging their perspective. You can say, I hear you and I understand how this impacts the team dynamic. And then gently guide the conversation back to the solution, framing it in terms of benefit for the teams or their relationships with each other. That goes like, if we solve this together, team will feel even more supported. Remember, with the I types, connection comes first. So address the emotions and the solutions will follow. The third conflict types. How do you handle someone who's always avoiding confrontation? Have you noticed a team member who's always nodding along in meetings, never voices their concern or issues, and quickly changes the subject when things get tense? You think everything is fine, only to find out later that they've been quietly unhappy about a decision or direction the entire time. It's frustrating because you can't fix what you don't know, right? So how do you bring those hidden issues to the surface without making them uncomfortable? First, here's what you need to know. Not everyone handles conflict head on. Some people would rather keep the peace, even if it means burying unresolved issues that would bubble up later. I work with leaders who found themselves stuck because of their calmness. Most dependable employees refuse to confront problems. I admit it's a tough spot to be in, but it taught me an important lesson. There's a specific way to get through to these personalities without pushing them too hard. So, what's the key? You see, avoiding conflict is like leaving a tiny crack in a bed. It seems harmless at first, but over time, the pressure builds and it can lead to bigger problems. In the DISC model, this is typically the S types or the steady types. They're steady, supportive, and focused on harmony. And they value stability and they dislike disruption and any kind of impact to the peace. However, in conflict situations, they tend to downplay their frustration to avoid upsetting others.
Good.
Here you go, Mr. Tarkanian. The new copy's finished.
You do not hand in crap like this!
I'm sorry.
The challenge is that their silence can often lead to unresolved tension. So, how do you gently draw them out and resolve the issues? The key is to create a safe space for gradual, open dialogue. Start with small things, like asking non-threatening questions. How do you feel about the team's current workflow? Let them share their thoughts at their own pace, without pressure. Emphasize collaboration over confrontation by framing conflicts as opportunities to strengthen the team and the team dynamics. Just be patient. S-type needs time to process and trust. With steady people, process happens with one calm conversation at a time. Conflict type 4. How do you work with someone that needs all the data before taking any action. Have you ever been in a situation where someone refuses to move forward until every single question is answered, every number is verified twice, and every possible risk assessed? You're ready to take action, but they're still scrutinizing over fine print. It can feel like process is stuck in quicksand. So how do you keep things moving without overwhelming them or skipping over their need for details and precision? Let's be real. In any workplace, you encounter people who need absolute clarity.
I think as long as we have clarity.
Yeah,
Right.
Clarity.
Before they commit to anything. It's true. Some people don't just want to solve the problem. They want to understand it inside and out before they make a move to make sure they succeed the first time around. I've worked with a lot of employees like this who would freeze in the face of decision unless they had every fact and figure in front of them. I've learned that this level of caution is important and critical in some cases, but in most cases it slows down progress if not handled the right way. So how do you meet their need for information while keeping things moving along efficiently? Think of it this way. Working with these individuals is like constructing a building, one step at a time. While others may focus on the exterior, they're the ones double-checking the foundation to make sure everything holds up. In the DISC framework, these are called the C-types, or the conscientious people. Very detail-oriented, very analytical, and according to Marston's findings, the C-types thrive on accuracy and logic. But they can become paralyzed by overanalyzing, particularly in conflict situations. How exactly do you help them feel confident enough to move forward while respecting their need for precision? The solution is simple: to provide them with clear, organized data and deadlines. Give them information they need to feel secure, but set boundaries and keep things on track. Setting clear expectations in terms of deadline can be very helpful. An example can be, here's the research we have so far, and we will need a decision by Friday to move forward. Avoid rushing or diminishing their concerns. Instead, acknowledge their value. You could say something like, your attention to details ensure we don't overlook anything. Remember, with conscientious people, precision builds their confidence. Knowledge builds their confidence. So support their process, but gently guide them towards action. Set clear deadlines. So, do you find that understanding different personalities helpful? Let me know in the comments, and feel free to share any conflicts interests you have had, and I'll give you feedback on how you could potentially solve it. If you're interested in leveling up your management skills, check out my online course where I break down key processes to help you become a more effective leader and scale your business. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, and share it with your friends. See you in the next video.